Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So another video and another lighting setup, and I'm actually going to show 3 different lighting setups in this video, which were all used in a recent photo shoot that I had with the dance team from over here at the University of South Carolina. And it's usually kind of a crazy day. We do a lot of different types of setups. There were 3 main lighting setups that I used, so we'll run through those today. One of the lighting setups you can kind of see behind me, which was what I used for the headshots for the dancers. The other lighting setup was kind of the standard setup where we did individual photos plus small groups. And then we brought the whole team together in front of the camera, and I had to rearrange the lighting here so that I could get a nice even lighting across the team. So that was our 3rd setup. So we will run through all those in this video today. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the headshot setup, which you can see behind me, which I've kind of set up here. It's a 2-light setup, not counting the lights that I had hitting the back wall to turn our wall white. I'm using 2 older Einsteins Policy Buff Einsteins for that, and I'll show those here in a minute, just on kind of a separate shot where you can see a little bit closer of what it is that how I'm using those. But anyway, for the main lighting setup here, I've got the 36-inch Manny Ortiz beauty dish, and it is angled slightly, so then I've got some spill from that light hitting the eyelighter here, and my subject would be right in this area here, and you will see some examples that I'll show. One additional light that I brought in was this overhead umbrella that I've got boomed with my larger boom. And let me say too, the beauty dish, I'm using the new Easy Boom from Westcott, so I did have some ability to adjust based off of the height of who I was working with. So the smaller footprint with this boom is really makes it easy to use, set up in here. So for headshots for this type of shoot, I really enjoy using this eyelighter. It gives that nice fill light from underneath, and then you also get the highlights in the eyes of who I'm working with, the dancers in this case. And I'm centering my beauty dish. We're working, I'm basically focusing on a beauty light here for these types of images. A little bit different than if you watched my last video, it was pretty much the exact opposite of what I'm doing here. And I'm sure I'm going to show some examples here from the results using this lighting setup. Next, we will jump to the setup that I use for the individual full body shots and smaller groups. All right, behind me, I've got the lighting setup that I use for the majority of this photo shoot, where we take individual images, which are generally full body. The girls are different props, their pom-poms. Also doing some acrobatic dance moves. These girls are much more than just cheerleaders. They can really get after it. And when you see the moves they can hit in person, you realize that you are working with some athletes that are at the highest level. So that is always fun, and a lot of pressure on me as a photographer to hit the timing on my shutter at the peak moment of some of these moves they were doing. But that's how I captured those movements, just like I said, the individual type stuff, and this is the lighting setup. And I just figured it's going to be easier for me to walk around it with this Osmo, so that's what I'm going to do right now, and we'll take a look at everything I've got going on here. So let's just start right here from the camera. I'm using a video light here for the sake of this video, but this was where my fill light was. So it was basically camera left if you're situated from my angle of shooting there. And I'm just going to back up into the setup, and you can see once again I'm using the 36-inch Manny Ortiz beauty dish right here, and it's connected to that Easy Boom, and I was able to adjust it however I needed. A lot of times I was able just to kind of bring it up and down with the arm, but if I had, sometimes we did some setups down here on the floor, and so then I would adjust with the stand here and bring it down even a little bit lower. So that is the trade-off with the smaller boom. You don't get the swing amount that you get with the other larger boom like I have over here for the overhead light. So this was our hair light here hooked to the larger boom, which also gives me more extension out and over my subjects, much more so than this boom. Like I said earlier, there's some give and takes, but this boom right here is so easy to use and it takes up such a small space. I've really come to enjoy using it. All right, so I'm going to turn around and you will see one of the strip boxes on that side and one of them over here. So I was using 2 strips on either side of my subject here. So it's one of the rare times, I guess, that I'm using the same modifiers on either side, but I wanted something more uniform for this type of shoot, and I'm not trying to do anything really crazy out of the box, and so that gives me a nice uniform light. In conjunction with those, I've got the FJ200s that I've really begun to use a lot up here on the top corners and their reflectors, and so that light there is combining with this light to kind of give me more of a dynamic edge or rim type of light. To light up the background, I'm using the Einsteins here. These are just lights I've had for years and years, and they're still ticking, so they do a great job of lighting up this wall back here. So I've got 2 over here on this side. And if I've got them, why not use them? So this is basically kind of the setup I was using. If you want to see what the perspective is from this back end of the setup, and we'll walk forward. You can see the camera I'm using to record the video here. And so this was kind of basically my perspective from my camera right in this area here. I just want to jump in here real quick and talk about the column stands that I left out when I was walking through the lighting setup. These are so convenient to use with the wheels to roll in and then out based off of what I've got going on here in front of the camera. Like larger groups, I can easily wheel them out, wheel them back if I need to, and then bring them forward like I did for that group shot. And I've also got wheels with the boom stand as well. So having wheels on your light stands can really make things so much easier for you during as you progress through your photo shoot and when you need to make adjustments to the lighting. All right, so I want to jump in here and discuss the camera and lens that I used for this shoot. I guess this was probably more of a utilitarian decision than a creative decision. If you saw my last video, you will have seen where I used the 28-270 f2 lens, and I was pretty close to wide open that whole shoot based on a creative decision. This photo shoot, I used the 24-105 f4, and I thought I would just show the difference in size of these lenses if you haven't seen them in person before. But this lens here gives me excellent range. It's at f4, so it's super light. This was a fairly long shoot, several hours long. We had different setups. I had individual shots, I had small groups, I had the big team shot, and I had headshots. So if I look at my notes here, for the full body shots, I was at, well, for everything, pretty much I was at f6.3 except for the large group shot. So at f6.3, I was getting enough coverage where I could keep everyone in focus, especially in the individuals as well as the small groups. On the full body images that I captured in this shoot, I was between 65 and 70 millimeters. Medium groups, I went to 50 millimeters. For the portraits, that portrait setup, I made sure I stayed right around 85 millimeters on that one. It's a great focal length for portraits and headshots. And then the large group, I was at, let's see here, 40 millimeters and went to f9 for that large groups because we had several different layers of folks there that I wanted to make sure were in focus. You also might see this camera body sitting here. This is the Mark II version of this camera. Just thought I would throw this in here. I've got a couple shoots upcoming where I will use this guy. Still waiting on some software updates before I can use it in a studio setting. And I'm not trying to race content out about a new camera. That's not what this channel is about. I want to have real world experience on some commercial shoots with this Mark II, the R5 Mark II, before I create a video on here and discuss my thoughts. But if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen a couple pictures of this guy, and I had it sitting here, so I thought I would just show it here and just let y'all know that I will be talking about this in the future. So let's jump back to the third and final setup from this shoot. All right, my third and final lighting setup for this shoot was the large group shot. And basically what I did, since I had all these lights already set up and running, I basically moved everything up here to the front of the setup. So then it made as much room as possible for the team to assemble back in this area. And I was able to bring as much light as I could coming from the front. So I brought both strip boxes in and lowered them, rotated them horizontally to kind of give me that underneath type of fill light. And then I brought this overhead boom over on this end over here, along with the fill light that I've been using here for the video that you just saw, or for this video that you just saw in that previous setup. So I had it here as well, a little bit lower, almost in the same kind of elevation as the strip boxes. And then up above I was using this boom over above those lights. And then I brought the easy boom, I slid it out here too and rotated it more upward and used it on the other side to create this wall of light that you'll see from the behind the scenes and the ending result images. So it's a full day of shooting when I have the dance team in here, but we have a lot of fun. The girls get to kind of get their images that they want to get for social media, and then the team gets their images that they'll use during the seasons as we progress into, I guess, 24 and 25. So I hope that this was informative for y'all. If you feel like it's worthy, as usual, please give me that thumbs up. If you want to see more content just like this in the future, hit that subscribe button down there and the little bell so YouTube will let you know when I'm on here. In the meantime, look for me over on social media at Instagram at quantzphoto, as well as at ProLightMods on Instagram. Y'all please stay safe and healthy out there, and I will see y'all again soon in the next one.